I have been wanting to make a video on these two forever. This is the Creepy Caretaker, originally from Spirit Halloween, but this is actually a Party City model, and this is the original Spirit Halloween Gravedigger animatronic. Ever since I first got into Halloween, I always thought that these two look similar, but different in Spirit Halloween videos that I've seen of them. And that's because they are the same thing, but at the same time, just a little different. So today, we are going to talk about Tekky Design's ability to make reskins. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing something a little different today, and that is going to be doing, instead of an unboxing video or haunt build video, we're going to be actually doing I don't even know what you'd call it, an overview video, a thoughts video, I don't know. But we're going to be having some conversations, trying to broaden my horizons on video making instead of just doing the same old unboxings every day. But the main focus on this video is we're going to be talking about Tekky toys, or Tekky Design, and their abilities to make reskins and be successful with them, I think. And I have these two as my example here, and you might be thinking these aren't really reskins. Well, I guess not in the way that most reskins are, but I think I would still consider them a reskin in a way, in the fact that parts are being reused. It's not the same mechanism, yeah, but they're like brothers, okay? I would think these are brothers, and I'm gonna play that role as brothers in the haunted house this year for them. They're like brother gravediggers, I guess you could say. They kind of say similar things, they look the same, and they're both based in the cemetery. But this video is mainly focused on Tekky items. I know that other companies do the similar things here with this stuff, but I just think, when I think of reskin, I think of Tekky. So that's what we're going to talk about, and let's get started, I guess. Alright, so I turned off my accent lighting because I realized I look stupid in it, and I also put them in their up positions, basically, to so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. Now, the first thing that is the obvious one are the lanterns. No, the faces, actually. Is what's really obvious with reskinning here. These are the same molds for the head, have the white eyes as well with the white LEDs, but it's the same thing. You think of like things today. Now, I believe these two were around right in the same era. Like, this was 2011. I think he was around in 2011 too. I'm not 100% sure, but he was right around that era. And if you were to release two animatronics today, this might not go over well with the idea of like, oh, it's the same exact face. They're like the same thing. It's like cheap and lazy, you could say. Now, personally, I don't really mind it because I think the characters are far enough apart to be considered different things. And that's what I think Tekky really did well, not only back in the day, but modern times, whether it's components, mechanisms, or just molds and stuff. Like the lanterns, they're the exact same lantern, but it doesn't matter because it's a lantern. Why does it have to be different? Why would you waste money making a new lantern now? There is actually a little difference, and that the Creepy Caretaker, now this is again a 2018 model, this has a normal like LED bulb in it, while the Gravedigger actually has an incandescent flickering light bulb, which is a little more realistic, but this one's definitely a lot brighter. Now, the paint jobs do have like a little variation in terms of coloring and stuff, and that probably relates to the fact that this one is newer, wasn't painted during the same time as this one, so the processes and maybe the paints changed over the years. Look at the pop-up mechanisms. Even today, it's all the same. You have Hellspawn, Emmeline, Desmodus. They're all the same. It's basically all the same mechanism. Now, it's a little bigger and stronger and improvements over the years, but overall, it's the same thing that they've used in so many different props. It's just really cool to see that. And even back in the day with Pop-Up Zombie and Peekaboo Penny, it's like the same thing, but with just some different tweaks here and there to make it work on different props. Now, I know that Tekky isn't the only company to do stuff like this, but I like to think that Tekky is the one that really found ways to use the same components over and over again to save on costs and stuff. Like, for instance, the bases, the round bases on both of these is the same base. The same round base is used. Now, yes, the plastic might be different. The mounts are a little different here. This one has an extra weight on it. But I would argue like the bottom piece of these two bases would be able to intermatch with fairly low modification needs. And I actually did that with my Peekaboo Penny animatronic that was broken when I got her. It was missing the lower plastic round piece of the base, and I took it from an old Guardian of the Grave from like the same era, and I had to do some minor modifications, but all the screw holes basically screwed in, and it was like a perfect fit for it. And that's what's on it today. So like as I'm saying, the parts are interchangeable, which for someone like me who has to work on things like these because they go bad eventually, it's great to know that I can easily swap parts if needed, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So here is a close-up of the lantern for Gravedigger, and as you can see, it's an old incandescent bulb, which is pretty cool. Again, makes it look more realistic, but as you can see, it's the same thing compared to the Creepy Caretaker's lantern. And this is a common trend with items that they've used in the past, just reusing things, and it's smart. It really is. The head, obviously, you can see the close-ups here. It's the same thing. It has the gash mark in the head. Now this one's actually like filled with a plastic. It has like a plastic armature. It's a little weak because as you can see, there's like a big dent in his head right here, but it's under the hood, so it doesn't really matter. And then here is the Gravedigger's head, and again, it's the same thing. You can see the gash. Now the coloring's a little different, but like I said, different years made, so that's bound to change. But yes, it's all the same. And then look at this. Even though this is a Gravedigger, you have like the Harvester from that era as well, and it has the same head mech. A lot of parts are reused, and that's really helpful. It's helpful because you can use different things for different animatronics. Like let's say you part this guy out because he doesn't work. You can use the head mech for the Harvester, the face for the Caretaker in case this one ripped for some reason. You see what I mean? These parts are all interchangeable, and there's not many other companies out there that really do that. I guess you get to think about the YJ mouthpiece and like maybe mouthpieces in general, but like I like to think that Tekky builds their mechanisms first and builds a character around the mechanism. Now sometimes it's a little questionable, you know. For example, you have like the Graveyard Ghoul who uses the Harvester's soundtrack. Doesn't really make that much sense there. But speaking of soundtracks, Tekky uses similar background noises for their props as well, which is so cool. I don't know if any other company does that. If they do, let me know in the comments. To my knowledge, Tekky is really like the only one that does that, where it's like actually like noticeable. Like one that I think I know offhand is John Doe's and Demonica's background music is like the same thing. And again, that probably cuts down on costs here and there. I'm not sure, but I would assume it would bring down price levels a little bit. But back to the point of armatures and mechanisms and stuff, Tekky I think really does try to make the mech first and a prop around it. And a lot of other companies, I really don't think they do that. I feel like the character is made first and the mechanism, like how are we going to execute this, is made after the fact. And that might be one of the reasons why costs are up, because unlike other companies, Tekky uses the same parts. Like I remember Desmodus, when I first saw Desmodus, and I was like, wow, this thing is awesome. I was not really expecting it to only be $240. I was thinking it's going to hit like the $300 mark, to be honest. Now, why would Tekky decide to put the same exact head mold on two different props? You know, certain things like a lantern might not be that big of a deal because it's such a small thing, but the face, when us humans, we tend to like focus on the faces of just objects in general first. And for them to make two of the exact same faces on two different props is a little interesting for me. Why wouldn't they change it up a bit? Now, obviously, I think the cost would be a major thing, but is it also potentially building character? If these two were like displayed closely together in the themes back in the day, maybe the company was trying to have people perceive these two as like brothers or twins. And I honestly think that would be a cool idea, to have two different props like intermingled together. Kind of like how Henry Hustle and Harriet Hustle were like, what were they, father and daughter? Something like that. But I just think that builds character and maybe even potentially makes people buy them both because they want to have the two. Same with the Gothic, the female farmer and the male latex farmer from like 2008. Those things like that marketing vision perhaps might be a reason why they were the same, because I honestly like the idea that these two are like twins or brothers, and that's exactly, like I said before, is what I'm going to do for Halloween this year, and that's going to be putting them together, make a little scene. It'd be pretty cool. I have some thoughts in my mind here, fuzzy thoughts right now, but I have ideas, and I'm looking forward to it, and I think these two mesh together, and I think that might honestly be what they were trying to do. But that really wraps up what I really want to talk about in this video. I just really wanted to really make a video about how are these two similar to each other, or just make a video that relates these two together, and I was like, Reskins. Sure. So I just really want to show them off. Now we're going to make a little demo in the daylight, because that's what we do here. Alright everyone, that about wraps up this different video for today. So I want to thank you all so much for watching, and let me know in the comments, let me know, do you like this sort of content? I don't really know. Should I stick to the unboxings? Should I even do that? I don't know. But let me know. I'm always up for suggestions, always open to them. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.